From planet Earth, it's the IGN Digigods. So take off your thinking caps and please welcome two maniacs who finally really did it. They blew it up. Ah, damn you. God damn you all to hell. Wade Major and Mark Kaiser.
I always love a good Planet of the Apes reference. Corey, who was that?
Ger Crowley monkeyed around with that one.
That was cute.
Yes, his name is Ger. Or Jer.
Or something.
Or Reg, and he's dyslexic.
You like how I try to have a conversation with Corey even though...
Oh, you gave it away. You were so good at that. So expert.
Oh.
I like how you did that. All right, Wade, tell everybody how tired you are.
I'm so tired. Honestly, we've fed 39 people in 2 days and 3 meals, and I'm just, I'm beat. Food coma, family hangover, too much food, too many people, but good times.
I like the idea that you admit you have weight to lose. I've waited so many years for you to say that somebody is as svelte as you are.
No, I gotta
has
start.
Weight to lose.
I gotta work out like mad when the year comes in. I gotta run Stairmaster and do it all up. I'm just gonna be a little lethargic for the show today, but that's okay. I'll game up some enthusiasm when we get to the really good titles. But we got a couple of.
Well, then so let's start with titles where you'll be completely unenthusiastic. Let's start with that.
Well, as long as you were cooking ice cream. Can you really cook ice cream? I guess you.
Well, you have to put it in a saucepan.
All right.
Over a flame.
You were cooking ice cream then?
Yeah.
Before I came over?
Well, because for New Year's Eve, I'm being asked to bring 2 different types of ice cream to the New Year's Eve potluck, so I figure I'll start now.
Okay.
And then
Got it.
less work to do on December 30th or 31st.
Very good. Well, as long as we're talking about ice cream, we got a DVD here, a Blu-ray DVD and digital copy combo that came with its own ice cream. And I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh, it's a chef's thing, or it's an ice cream DVD. No, it's not actually. It's a horror film. It's Apollo 18, one of the more noteworthy non-events from this a couple of months ago. This is about 3 months ago that this thing came out. I forget anyway. Anyway, Anchor Bay released this, and it's, kind of a...
When I saw the trailer for this film, I
thought it was a wannabe low-budget alien or something?
I thought it might be cool.
Yeah, not
I thought
really.
it might be cool. And then the actual movie itself did not live up to my inflated expectation of it.
Yeah,
but it did come. It does come with.
Here's the gimmick here. Anyone who knows about the Apollo missions knows there never was an Apollo 18. Apollo 17 was the last one that went up in 1972, but this is like about a secret extra Apollo mission that went up in 1974, and this is the actual Blair Witch Project footage of what happened. Interesting idea, but it's like with Paranormal Activity and Blair Witch and everything that came in between, it's like too late, I feel like. If this had been, I don't know, 10, 12, 13 years ago, maybe. But now and it's kind of lame. It really doesn't take full advantage of the Blu-ray either. I found that sort of disappointing. But good sound, really, very nicely mixed. And they sent it to us with ice cream. Mark, tell them about the ice cream.
Freeze-dried ice cream. They sent us a package with freeze-dried ice cream.
It's like the astronauts would eat.
Well, no, it says, how is astronaut ice cream freeze-dried?
Awesome.
Freeze-drying removes water from the ice cream by lowering the air pressure to a point where ice shifts from a solid to a gas. There you go.
What a way to sell a DVD or a Blu-ray in this case. Include some swag that's astronaut food. Is there anything less appetizing than astronaut food? Remember when they used to hawk Tang that way? What the astronauts drink.
You know what?
Oh, good.
Should we open this up and eat it?
Yeah, why not?
Enjoy your ice cream just as the astronauts do, the freeze-dried way. Let's see what this tastes like.
It's the worst. Huh? It's the worst. Are you supposed to add anything, or do you just?
No. There's a little. It comes in a aluminum, like a tin foily package, and you open it up.
It turns into ice cream.
Well, it's freeze dried.
So what
so
makes
they open
it
it
ice
up,
cream?
And this is, well, it's ice cream in only the vaguest sense of the word. It's freeze-dried. It's ice cream. At one point, it was ice cream.
It's like powder.
And at some point, the water was removed from it.
Which means there's no more ice in it.
And it was frozen.
Which means it's like frozen dehydrated cream.
Look, and then, so you open up the aluminum foil packet, and there's a paper packet.
That's disgusting.
It looks like that.
It's gross. Why would I eat that?
Little brown cubes for chocolate, I assume, and white cubes for vanilla.
That's not ice cream.
And kind of pink cubes for strawberry.
Well, speaking of swag, Mark's now eating freeze-dried ice cream.
You know what this tastes like?
What does it taste like?
Bad aftertaste. But it tastes like honeycomb. Not the cereal, but you know when you go to like a chocolate store, like a fudge store,
and
you buy honeycomb,
and
it's just try it.
Nasty. Oh, gads, you're gonna make me eat this on the show. How is this ice cream in any way whatsoever?
Look, they're astronauts.
Is there strawberry in here? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'll have a little piece of strawberry.
It's not bad.
Really?
Wait, they're astronauts. I mean, anything that reminds them of home, they're going to eat it up.
It's like chalk.
No, it tastes
flavored
like
chalk.
It tastes like honeycomb. No, it tastes like honeycomb.
Whatever.
I will eat it.
Okay.
We'll eat this whole thing.
Yeah, go ahead. Enjoy it. Gross. It's nasty.
No, it's not.
This isn't ice cream. Yuck. Now it's stuck in my teeth. Disgusting. We also got a new Bloody Disgusting Selects movie called Chop. And, the whole Bloody Disgusting series, which comes to us from Vivendi, it's all the same kind of stuff. It's just shock horror and all gore films, mostly campy. And, you got a movie called Chop. You know what you're in for. Anyway, it's just silly. The plot is pointless here. Let's just put it this way: there's a lot of dismembering, and it's actually kind of funny. It almost feels more like a Sam Raimi film than anything else. But the thing that we're getting to here is that they included when they sent this out, Mark, for the holiday season. How did we receive this? Describe this.
Wait, I'm eating astronaut ice cream.
Describe exactly what we received.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know how to put this.
By the way, astronaut ice cream.
Okay, I'll describe it.
I'm on board. I liked it. It was good. It doesn't taste like ice cream. It tastes like honeycomb.
The DVD for Chop includes a nice little silver ribbon on it, like it's a gift, and then tucked underneath that is this plastic finger that has blood and bone sticking out.
Yeah, it's a plastic severed finger. It was chopped off.
I mean, it's great promotional swag, but it'd be nice if this finger made a noise or something.
Now, if that was a freeze-dried astronaut severed finger, then
you know what I'm going to do with this? My in-laws have a couple of puppies. I'm going to take this over, let the puppies play with it, and see if my mother-in-law freaks out. That'll be fun.
That was good.
Good times. Good post-Christmas fun times there. I'm going to do that. Put a severed plastic limb of some kind into a puppy's mouth, and you're sure to have fun.
So basically, the swag was better than the actual movie.
Yes, absolutely. All right, let's get to some real stuff here. We got a couple of we have our lists of favorite Blu-rays and DVDs of the last year. Mine is all Blu-rays because I want everybody to get on board with Blu-ray. And I didn't see any DVDs that floored me such that I could displace any of the Blu-rays on my list because all my favorite stuff, they were all Blu-rays. We got that. We got some listener mail and heaps and heaps and heaps of stuff. You know what, Mark?
Yes, ma'am.
While you're tweaking your list,
my list is done.
Your list is done?
Well,
you had some order issue. Well, you're not going to do it in an order, are you?
No, I'm doing it in alphabetical order.
Okay, that's fine.
Hang on,
I'm doing mine grouped differently.
Got it.
But I'll let you sort that out. I'm just going to go through some music stuff that we had missed last week. But some really good music titles out here. This is a Michael Feinstein, The Sinatra Legacy on Blu-ray. If you like Feinstein, a lot of people don't. They think he's just a little bit too into himself. But he's a great singer, great musician, and here he's got a 32-piece orchestra backing him up, and it's terrific. This is really good stuff. So here's what you get. Gosh, that stuff is just nasty. The aftertaste is foul, I'm telling you.
It.
No, it's nasty. Ew, gross. Anyway,
You're gross.
Here's the song list. Once in a lifetime, I thought about you. Fly me to the moon. Put on a happy face. A lot of living to do. So in love. There'll be some changes made. Begin the begin. Begin the begin. I love that one.
Cole Porter. I think that's Cole Porter.
Yeah. Brazil. For once in my life. Maybe this maybe this time. And of course, New York, New York. And then you get some a bonus track, Sway, and a couple of little featurettes on the Palladium. This is really great. This is from Image, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. Concert Blu-rays are the best, and Feinstein is just, he's a terrific performer. A really good performer, great voice. I like him a lot better than Bublé, I gotta tell you.
No,
we're gonna be
he's
Bublé.
lame.
I'm
Bublé's
so
lame.
over the Bublé.
You know what? He's like the John Mayer of that sort of music.
Yeah.
He just seems kind of douchebaggy to me.
Yeah.
Like he's so sincere, I want to kill him.
Yeah. His Christmas special blew, by the way. He's put on weight and he won't shave. I don't know what the deal is with that.
You know who's put on weight is Vince Gill. I saw Vince Gill in some...
He's got gills now. That was too easy of a joke. Sorry. Go on.
It didn't even make sense.
I know.
Vince Gill is fat.
Getting into the more classical line of things here, we have a terrific disc here, Yutaka Sado and the Berlin Philharmonic Orchestra doing From Me Flows What You Call Time by Takamitsu, a Japanese composer I've never heard of, and then Symphony No. 5 in D minor by Shostakovich. Pretty great. And the cool thing about this is that if you buy this disc, a portion of the proceeds go to the Japanese earthquake victims and tsunami victims from earlier this year. So you're doing good deed at the same time. I have never heard of Toru Takamitsu, so call me a heathen. I considered myself something of a classical music buff, but anyway, this is the first time that Yutaka Sado was invited to conduct with the Berlin Philharmonic, and it is a great pair of performances, really terrific. I love the Shostakovich, and I really like the Takamitsu. I'm going to have to go look into some more of his stuff. And then another Blu-ray here, Richard Strauss, Die Liebe der Danae. And this is a 3-act opera, which I'd also never heard of, that was it's actually quite interesting. I'm still not quite sure what I watched, but it was visually very engaging and seemed to be quite an interesting little mythical story to it. So anything Richard Strauss is certainly worth it because, he did the theme to 2001. You know that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
You mean it wasn't Alex North?
No.
Okay.
No, that score was never used. Also a great new Blu-ray here from Arte, A-R-T-E, Euro Arts line. Gustav Mahler's Symphony No. 2 in C minor, the Resurrection Symphony, which is really, really very nicely done. This was recorded at the Berlin Philharmonic in March of 2005. And then we've got Blu-ray of La Traviata, which is a new performance of Verdi, which is actually really pretty cool and stylish. This also is a 3-act opera, directed for television by Miriam Hoyer. And again, really a very cool staging of this thing. That's also highly recommended. That's a beautiful Blu-ray, really, really nice quality. Naxos, who distributes all of this stuff, also has a great new Blu-ray of Janacek's Glagolitic Mass. And masses can be really hit or miss in just all of them. I mean, like the Missa Solemnis by Beethoven is a tremendous mass, and there are others that are just boring and impossibly impenetrable. This is one I'd never heard of before. It's terrific, really, really great. 13 different movements in it, and very, very beautifully done by the Warsaw Philharmonic Orchestra. That's a great Blu-ray as well. And remember, it's the sound that counts in all these. It's nice to see it, but the lossless audio for all these concerts, incomparable. Forget about CDs or any of the rest. This is just going to swell your house. Lancino's Requiem. Any Requiem is always cool by me, and this is one that fits right in with the very, very best. This is also by Laxos. This is a Blu-ray audio disc, and as performed by the Philharmonic Orchestra of Radio France. Really, really great. And then just a straight-up Blu-ray, The Little Mermaid by the San Francisco Ballet. I didn't even realize I'd done a Little Mermaid ballet, but this is lovely. And really don't expect, the Disney film by any means. There's no Alan Menken music in this at all, and thank goodness. I like Alan Menken, but this is really very, very cool. It's more about the dancing than anything else. The music's great, dancing's terrific. Let's see, get one more from the Naxos line. Yeah, this one, Carmen in 3D. I don't know how I feel about this. This is a Real D attempt to push 3D into opera. This is a performance from at the Royal Opera House, and this is from Opus Arte. And I'm not quite sure how I feel about this, because it's opera in 3D. I don't know. It's like it defeats the purpose of seeing the opera live, and it doesn't quite capture the same dynamic. And I'm not a fan of 3D, but I was like, okay, I saw Pena, the Wim Wenders film, which has a little bit of the stage dynamic. They used the 3D to try to give you a sense that you're in the audience a little bit. Fine, I can, I'll go with that gimmick a little bit. But this was, I don't know, didn't... I'm still trying. I'm still kind of jury's out. I'm not sure that I liked it, but I think some people probably might, if you're looking to replicate that experience. And if you love the aforementioned Gustav Mahler No. 2 Symphony, you can also get a solid dose of that in the A Concert for New York release from Accentus Music. This was a 9/11 benefit concert with Alan Gilbert directing the New York Philharmonic, recorded at Avery Fisher Hall at Lincoln Center on September 10th, 2011. So this is just one day shy, earlier this year, of the 10-year anniversary of 9/11. Can't believe it's been 10 years. And also beautiful performance. So, I mean, you don't get one, get two. Do 2 times Mahler. Turandot, which is a brilliant Puccini opera, was probably the most interesting version of this. Was directed by Zhang Yimou, and that's still available on DVD, though not on Blu-ray. This, however, is a very lovely Blu-ray that compares quite favorably with it, thanks to direction by Franco Zeffirelli. And I'm not sure ultimately which version I like better, if I like Zhang Yimou's version or Zeffirelli's version. One is obviously by an outsider to the world of opera and Italian culture, and the other by someone who has been, for his whole life, immersed in it. But it's brisk, it's bold, it's very well staged, and beautifully conducted by the Coro e Orchestra della Arena di Verona, the Verona Orchestra, conducted by Giuliana Carella. Quite nice. And then lastly, The Love We Make, Chronicle of Paul McCartney's cathartic journey through New York in the aftermath of 9/11. Another 9/11 tribute disc on Blu-ray, courtesy of the people at Eagle. And I think this is Paul McCartney probably thinks this is a bigger deal than it really is, but it's actually very, very touching. It's just not any kind of a landmark, legendary bit of music or documentary filmmaking, but it certainly does. If you want your little library of remembrance DVDs and Blu-rays for 9/11, it certainly has a place. It'll fill a spot.
Wade, classical music fills a spot in your life.
It does.
In my life, it creates a spot that is only filled with rock music and food.
Oh,
how dare you? I like classical music.
How dare you?
I mean, I would never listen to it.
Shall we do a little bit of television, Mark?
Television?
Smell-o-vision.
It replaces it.
I know. Here, I'll start us off with Underbelly, the trilogy, all 3 uncut, uncensored seasons. I know what you're thinking. Underbelly, what the hell is Underbelly? That's what I thought too. I'm otherwise utterly unfamiliar with Underbelly, which is an Australian series. And it's like an Australian version of Goodfellas on television, and it's violent and weird, and it's just rife with all kinds of stuff that would never, ever in a million years make it on American television unless it was on cable. And you know what? Check it out. It's we don't get enough Australian television over here. We get all kinds of stuff from the BBC, but Australia really does create a lot of interesting television stuff, because a lot of the great Australian actors and directors and writers who wind up in Hollywood, this is where they hone their skills.
Sure.
So, yeah, this is 3 seasons of this show called Underbelly, and the only people who've ever had a chance to really watch this here are people who watch this Audience Network, which is only available on DirecTV. And since I don't have DirecTV, I've never heard of Audience, so I'm wondering how many people are actually getting a look at this.
6.
Probably.
I counted.
Yeah.
Wade, they do TV in Canada, too. Bet you'd know that.
They're big enough to have televisions up there?
That's right. Canada.
I thought they just, farm caribou and
no.
say a lot.
No.
Drink beer.
America's hat.
Bob and Doug McKenzie, they're Canadian.
Not funny. Captain Power and the Soldiers of the Universe. That was that's a funky little show. That was in the late 80s, and it was developed by Mark Scott Zicree, who a lot of you know for writing the definitive Twilight Zone compendium book. But this is from 1987-88, and it ran for about 20 episodes, and it takes place in the 22nd century following the Metal Wars, the Terminator-esque Metal Wars.
So the Metal Wars. See, I always thought the Metal Wars were when Kiss took on
Kiss Saves Christmas?
Kiss Saves Christmas. No, Kiss versus the Phantom. That was the best. They shot that at Magic Mountain. That was awesome.
Anyway, Captain Power. This is a weird show because it was called Captain Power, so it sounds kind of cheesy, and there's a lot of 1987 era, CGI effects, which are really kind of cheesy. But the show had like a Star Trekian streak where it would try to tackle, Nazism and these more adult themes. And I don't know that the two ever really meshed that well, but the entire series is available now on, it should be Blu-ray, but it's on DVD.
Wicked.
So special features include a making of the show, some stuff on Season 2, commentary, whatnot, on some of the episodes. So Captain Power is definitely a piece of nostalgia for those who remember your Canadian television from the late 80s, and who doesn't?
Blu-ray and DVD, Portlandia, Season 1. This stuff just comes out of the blue, and I'm like, how do I not know about this? And this is why it's kind of cool to get the Blu-rays and the DVDs, because some of this stuff, there's so many channels now, this stuff goes right past me. I had no idea that Fred Armisen was doing anything other than the occasional movie and then being super, super funny and carrying Saturday Night Live on his back every single week. He and Kristen Wiig just carry that show on their backs these days. Fred Armisen is he's genius. I find the guy so incredibly hysterically funny. But anyway, this is a short-based comedy series from IFC and Broadway Video called Portlandia. And Fred Armisen apparently co-created this with Carrie Brownstein, who is a musician and a singer. And the short films that constitute this thing all take place in the weird confines of Portland, Oregon. And it's a peculiar, interesting, clever show that I think might kind of grow on me with time. I'm still kind of a little bit undecided on it. It feels a little bit uneven. At times it feels a little bit rushed. But what really keeps it going is the fact that they pull all of their friends into it. And you get a lot of really cool guest stars in here. Now, Lorne Michaels obviously EP'd this, as he seems to do with I guess there's an unwritten rule, that if you're an SNL alum and you make a movie or another show, that Lorne Michaels has to also produce that, because they don't seem to be able to cut those ties.
Well, if that's the case, he's made a lot of bad movies.
Yeah, he has. We know that. But I still like the Ladies' Man. I still find that funny.
God.
Anyway, so there you go. Armisen and Carrie Brownstein's Portlandia, the first season. So, how they have time to do all this stuff, I don't know.
Well, because the show only produces very few, relative to other shows, very few original episodes a year. Yeah. Anyway, there's a Showtime show called Queer as Folk about a bunch of gay men living in the United States. Well, that was based on a UK show also called Queer as Folk. And the complete collection of Queer as Folk is now available on DVD from the good people at Acorn. This show was a little more groundbreaking, I think, than the American version, which starred
by far, which
starred Hal Sparks from Talk Soup. And so here you've got a lot of this stuff is very poignant and very realistic, and this was way more, again, as Wade says, way more realistic than the American remake. So if you want to check out where it all came from, you should check out Queer as Folk, the complete collection from Acorn Media. There's a couple of bonus features on here, including some commentaries, deleted scenes, interviews, a 20-page booklet. So if you like the show, go for it. It's all about gay people in Manchester.
You know what's not about gay people?
Star Wars.
Jersey Shore. I hate Jersey Shore. And I'm convinced that Jersey Shore is proof that Paramount hates everyone who watches television. Seriously, I can't. And it's funny. I didn't realize these people they're not from Jersey. They're New Yorkers. Because I saw a thing where Chris Christie was on TV and he was going out of his way to point out that these losers, these disgusting, stupid losers on television, do not represent New Jersey. You would think that a popular show about Jersey Shore would be sort of embraced by the governor of New Jersey. Apparently, not so much.
Well, it doesn't matter where they're from. There's no reason why
it's like a horrible stereotype.
Why any politician should be embracing Jersey Shore.
No, true.
I mean, literally, it is the worst of culture.
It is the worst. It's just these people are now all rich. These horrible, dreadful people. Snooky and
because the thing is that like shows like here's the thing, we're now part of a culture.
Who calls themselves The Situation?
We are now in a culture where
insane.
We're now in a culture where any idiot who acts like a douchebag can be on television if they just get themselves. Because the thing is that people used to say, "How am I going to be famous? I can't act. I can't write music. I can't write a novel. I can't direct a feature." You used to have to say to yourself, "Gee, I don't have the tools that it takes to break out in the pop culture because I don't have the very specific talents necessary." Well, nowadays, no talent necessary. No talent.
None.
No talent.
And none of these people have any talent.
You act like a jerk, you're in. Done.
That's it.
That's all it takes. You act like a jerk, you're in.
Well, if you disagree with us, then you'll just really get a kick out of Jersey Shore Season 4 uncensored. But I don't see what the point is. I really don't. These are just awful people. And it's a big deal. So they go to Florence, Italy, and you get you can go to Florence, Italy on travel DVDs and travel Blu-rays, and you get a better scene of the better sights of the city. You don't have to go there with all these imbeciles. At least they're not disgracing New Jersey in this one. But seriously, how horrible. Saber Rider and the Star Sheriffs is an interesting. This is Collector's Edition, Volume 1. This is an interesting series that originally an anime show from Japan that really has sort of fallen between the cracks. And it's not any more extraordinary than, say, Voltron, which was created by the same people, or even Star Blazers, which is my preference from roughly the same area. This is a little bit after Star Blazers from the 1980s, and it's it's like a Western. It's like a science fiction Western in space is basically what it is. A lot of creative animation, obviously in an older era of anime, going back about 30 years, and a little bit more raw, a little bit closer to the that mid-interim period between Astro Boy and all of the really spectacular stuff that started exploding in the 90s. But otherwise, pretty decent, some good writing, and nice characterization. So I'm not opposed. And this is Volume 1. Looking forward to many more cool volumes from VCI. They scored a good one with this.
Wait, over at IFC, they have a funky little show called the Increasingly Poor Decisions of Todd Margaret. And what's notable about the series is that it is kind of an amalgam of American humor, American sitcom humor, and British sitcom humor. It was created by and stars David Cross, very famous American cult comic, if you can be cult and famous, and also Sean Pye, who is British. And the two of them kind of get together to do the show called The Increasingly Poor Decisions of Todd Margaret, and somehow their efforts don't really add up to much comedy.
I got to tell you something. I feel so bad for him that he has to keep recurring that with that awful, dreadful recurring part in the Chipmunk movies.
You know how much money he makes for that? I'm sure it pays his mortgage for a year.
I'm sure it does, but you can tell. Like, I had to sit through the last Chipmunk film with a whole bunch of our colleagues. It was actually quite funny. Christy Lemire sat in front of me and was laughing at all of my snickering, I guess. I nearly cried just when the movie started. It was horrible. Michael Reschaffen sitting next to me, his little boy, kept saying through the whole thing, "Yeah, I knew that was going to happen." Yeah, no, that doesn't bode well for a film when kids are like, "Yeah, I saw that one coming." You can't even get out in front of the kids. It's terrible.
Yeah, well, you know what? I'm not sure if Todd Margaret's going to be...
He just phones it in.
It doesn't look like Todd Margaret's going to be renewed, but or possibly. I'm not really sure. But all I know is that this first season is pretty mediocre. The story involves Todd Margaret winds up being tapped to sell like this North Korean energy drink called Thunder Muscle.
Yeah. And
so he is packed off to London to take this job, of which he is horribly unqualified. And so it's almost like you know what it is. It's almost like taking Steve Carell from the American office and making him work in the British office.
Oh,
it's kind of like that.
I get you.
But
All right.
this is not nearly as funny as that.
That's too bad.
It's got a good cast, though. It also has Will Arnett, who we like. But anyway, blooper reel is always funny because those guys are hilarious. Still some deleted scenes, Q&A with the cast, but not funny, the increasingly poor decisions of Todd Margaret.
Archer, the complete season 2. This is an animated show on FX that starts its new season on the 19th of January. So they are obviously pumping you up to get you ready for that new season and maybe earn some new viewers. With the complete season 2 on Blu-ray, Archer is basically a spy animated show. And, Sterling Archer is the titular character. I said titular. You like that? Maybe the first time on this podcast I've ever said that. He works for ISIS. And what can I tell you? It's a secret agent thing. It's well-intentioned. It tries a little too hard, I think, to be all kind of slick and spy and fit in with all of the spy motifs that we're all accustomed to with, whatever it is, everything from Man from U.N.C.L.E. to Get Smart to you name it. But the animation is interesting, and bear in mind this is oriented for grown-ups, not for kids. So this is like grown-up show animation, and that's fine. It gets into it pushes the envelope a little bit, and it's not entirely risque, but it certainly tries to have a groovy, sexy 70s and 80s vibe to it, and that's fine. It works. But I don't know how much longer they can keep this going. It just doesn't feel unique enough. It feels a little bit unique, but I think it needs something. Maybe interesting voice characterizations. I don't know.
Do you think the Borges has unique voice characterizations?
It doesn't matter.
Because it has Jeremy Irons.
And, the history of the Borgias is what the Godfather was loosely based on.
Well, it's funny because people thought that this would be like the actual Godfather in the time that the inspiration took place.
The medieval Godfather.
The medieval Godfather, like the Italian dynasty, Spanish origin, the Pope, the whole thing plays in. But I think a lot of people were disappointed, although it did well enough to warrant another season. It looks great. It's got Jeremy Irons, who is, of course, fantastic, because we all love Jeremy Irons. He plays Pope Alexander the Sixth. He's very ambitious, and he heads the Borgia family.
Which is like the most ruthless, dominant family dynasty in history.
Yes.
Beyond any question.
Now, don't forget, too, one of the producers here is Neil Jordan.
Yeah.
So this, there's good stuff going on.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is a Blu-ray with a couple special features that are like, meh, okay. There's some BD Live stuff on it, which still is not being used to any decent effect. Anyway, it's really well shot. Jeremy Irons is great. It is sort of, it's got a lot of backstabbing and ruthlessness, which people like. And, I think it's kind of a funky little show. I like it.
Groovy.
Do you think it's groovy, Wade?
I do.
No, you don't.
I think it's groovy. I don't think it's as good as it should be, but I was surprised at how good it was for a first season. And I think they can hone a lot of those things and, keep relatively close to the historical record and, kind of dramatize it a little instead of going full tilt melodrama. I think they could do some fun things.
Well, I think people are really taken by the production design. It looks great.
It's what they do a lot of on HBO and Showtime is all that stuff. They really
very sumptuous production design. It looks like a big movie. And the thing is that this is sort of coming off the Tudors.
Yeah.
Which was
that was the inspiration for it. That's why they went ahead and did it.
Right, and that was the Showtime version. I think this. I don't know. Is this better than the Tudors? I can't decide.
I kind of think it is.
You think so?
I kind of do. I feel like
it
is
better.
because
it looks better.
The Borgia, everything about Henry VIII and his family is something that's so well worn. I think the Borgias at least feels fresh, and Jeremy Irons just feels, he always nails it.
Yeah, but the Tudors has like Sam Neill and
I know
Max von Sydow showed up for an episode or whatever.
Yeah.
Henry Cavill, who's playing whatever his name is, who's playing Superman.
Yeah,
he's in there.
True. Very true.
It does kind of have a better. The Tudors has a better cast.
Yes, it does.
I'll put it that way.
Yes.
But I think that the Borgias is a better show.
I'll go with that.
I'll
go with that. Mark, finish us off on television, and then I will blow through a bunch of these Miramax Classics releases that just came out from Echo Bridge, and then we'll move on with movies.
Wade, here's the thing.
Yes.
Shaun the Sheep is a British stop-motion animated children's series. Now, this is produced by the Aardman Studios, the Wallace and Gromit people, Nick Park. So you know what you're getting. Good stuff. This is the second season, which is in a big, thick case, which I don't understand why it's necessary to put the whole season. I mean,
Shelf
there are.
space. Catch your eye on the shelf.
I guess. I mean, look, there are 40 episodes here, but still, you know what it's like? It really doesn't need to be in a huge case like this.
No,
anyway,
not really.
40 episodes. It all takes place in a. I guess you'd say like a
farm.
Like a farm, yeah. Yeah, all the animals are smart, and it takes place in a farm, and it's all about how they all have to evade like this big sheepdog named Bitzer.
Yeah.
And so like Sean has to evade Bitzer and all little
the usual farm shenanigans.
Yes,
yeah.
Unbelievable.
It's a cute show.
It's a cute show. Is it Aardman at their best? No. Is it Nick Park at his best? No. But you know what? I'm telling you, if you're going to watch a children's show and you're going to have it be something that's cute and well done
for sure.
and clever, and the adults can enjoy it too.
I got to tell you, at Christmas yesterday, one of my wife's cousin's little daughter, who was there, adorable, cutest girl in the world, wanted to watch something on TV. I said, "What do you want to watch?" She goes, "SpongeBob." My heart sank. I just thought, really? Is this like every child I run into is into SpongeBob?
SpongeBob's
what is the
cute.
deal? What is the deal?
I like the SpongeBob movie.
What is the deal?
Why don't you show her this? Show her Show on the Sheep.
What happened to Bugs Bunny?
Because Bugs Bunny is not on Saturday morning or prime kid access TV time. Terrible. Saturday morning, cable when they get home.
I know,
when they get home from school. That's all SpongeBob.
Okay, we're gonna blow through these Miramax classics, and then we'll do some listener mail, and then our top picks for the year, and then wrap out with a bunch of whatever else we can get through.
So many new movies, Wade. What are you doing? Just give us the movies.
Okay, well, here, real quick. Miramax Classics. A bunch of Miramax library titles from Echo Bridge have also now been re-released. These have been out before from when they were with Disney. Now they're out once again, so don't worry about it. They're available for rental or purchase, whatever you want. Map of the Human Heart from Vincent Ward, a director who was very promising and then went nowhere. This is the film that put him on the map. It is a flawed but interesting movie. Originally kind of tried to do a little something with Jason Scott Lee. Didn't really go anywhere. I mean, it's a very ambitious epic. Doesn't really quite get there. Blast Off. Great little movie that the Weinsteins were passionate about back in the time with Ewan McGregor and Tara Fitzgerald and Pete Postlethwaite. A great little blue-collar British indie. I really like this film. I thought it was terrific. It kind of slots in there with the Full Monty crowd, movies about blue-collar people trying to make a difference.
You know what? All those that little subgenre of like Billy Elliot, Calendar Girls.
Love them all.
You love them all.
I love them all. They're all great. The amazing Johnny To and action director Ching Soo-tung, both of whom have just done some of the most amazing films in the history of Hong Kong. This is back when Johnny To was not quite the auteur that he is today. He wasn't yet able to make all these cool gangster movies, so he had to do kind of works for hire, one of which was The Heroic Trio. This is an amazingly cool film that I can't really recommend in this format. I still have to recommend the imports because this is not the cut or the with all the dubbing. I have a problem with it. But anyway, this is The Heroic Trio starring Michelle Yeoh, Anita Mui, Maggie Chung as a trio of kind of female superheroes, very dark female superheroes who have to come together to defeat an evil sorcerer who kidnaps babies that eat people. It's kind of nasty, but it's a cool movie if you can get the import. But this one is not recommended.
Although, hang on, here's what is recommended.
What is recommended?
Because I figured we're talking about Johnny To.
Yeah.
Got to talk about Election.
Sure.
1 and 2.
Yeah.
Exiled.
Awesome.
Breaking News.
Exile's so good.
Yes, Breaking News, which is on Cannes.
Yeah.
Good stuff. We do love our Johnny To.
Richard Stanley, who once stood in my kitchen and said some very strange things, still can't really get work directing anything again, but Dust Devil was one of his more interesting pictures, and Richard Stanley's a weird dude, and he makes some weird, creepy genre movies, and he's very talented, and I wish somebody would give him a job. One of the stories that I heard him personally recount about Dust Devil was how to get a certain effect, they actually burned the carcasses of real cows in a field, and I guess got in trouble for it or something, if I'm recalling correctly. Creepy. So anyway, there's just no way to actually describe this. This is kind of it's a weird African set, kind of a serial killer genre ghost phantom movie, and that's all you need to know. It's creepy. Basquiat features one of the best performances of the career of Jeffrey Wright, who almost single-handedly rescues the new
incredibly close.
Extremely close, incredibly loud.
No, other way around.
Extremely loud, incredibly close. Worst title ever. Jeffrey Wright almost single-handedly rescues that film.
Don't you feel like he should have been at least been nominated for 3 Oscars?
By now?
Yeah,
absolutely. Gary Oldman too. Yeah. Neither of those guys have ever been nominated for anything. It's incredible. Jeffrey Wright should have won something. He's such a good actor. As Basquiat, the famous artist, he is tremendous and carries this movie despite the fact that David Bowie does the single worst impression of all time of Andy Warhol. It is just embarrassingly horrible. But really, really good effort at directing and writing, frankly, by Julian Schnabel, who knew Basquiat, was close friends with him. And then lastly, Get Bruce was the Miramax documentary about the utterly bizarre and weird, freakish comedy writer who has, to my knowledge, done nothing other than the Oscars, Bruce Vilanch. Bruce Vilanch is, you know him probably as that guy who looks like he should be some kind of a Muppet. He's got hair all over. He's got the worst hairstyle, big beard. He's fat. He's just
he always wears strange T-shirts.
He wears strange T-shirts, and all he does is write lines for the Oscars. And he was going to be fired this year until they then wound up firing Brett Ratner, and I guess now Vilanch is probably back in the mix. All right, there we have it. Mark, new movies.
Movies?
Or should I read listener mail? What do you want to do?
Let's do some listener mail. Let's break it up. Let's do it.
We're going to get on track today. I swear we will. I'm just too tired. Let's see. We had a listener mail from Aaron Chalmers, who said, I saw Drive in the theaters recently and loved it. One of my favorite of the year. What are your thoughts? I don't often respond much either way to soundtracks, but I thought for Drive it was perfect. Also, do you have any comments on theater etiquette? I saw Valhalla Rising at the IFC Theater in New York, a tiny living room theater with about 8 people in there, and I was the only one to get popcorn. I tried to eat as much as I could during previews, but I couldn't finish and put it down once it started. What would you have done? Great show. Have listened and watched for years. You realize that the Drive soundtrack did not qualify for the Oscars. It's one of, and neither did My Week with Marilyn.
Yes. Well, Drive is the one that's a little more upsetting because with Drive, there's
it's all song oriented. They have a weird rule that says if a score relies too heavily on songs, it's ineligible. My Week with Marilyn was more that it used another composer's theme too heavily. The Des Plats theme is too integrated into the other guy's score, so that disqualified it. But Drive was weird. I don't know why they would do that. Songs, so what? If it requires it, if it's suitable, it should be part of the score.
I agree. As in our group, LAFCA, LA Film Critics, we vote for the totality of the music in the film. Even
if it's original music, adapted music, source music, doesn't matter. It's the way that music is used, correct? Which I sometimes prefer. But we love Drive. We love the use of music.
Love it. Love Nicholas Winding Refn.
Love it. And as for theater etiquette, you know what? If they're serving popcorn in the theater, just friggin' eat it. I mean, it may make noise in the smaller rooms, but I'm sorry, that's it. They serve it, you get to eat it.
That's the thing. You know what? You would think that in the
it's not like you're bringing a pizza in.
Well, but a pizza's okay because a pizza doesn't crunch.
Exactly.
I mean, popcorn crunches. When you open up a box of Raisinets, it is wrapped in cellophane, and it's funny. And I think I when I responded to his email, I mentioned this is that somebody will buy a box of Raisinets, and it's wrapped in cellophane.
Yep.
And so people think that if they open up the box, if they unwrap the cellophane slowly,
fast.
it'll make it seem like they're being courteous, they're trying to do it as quietly as they can. It makes just as much noise. Just rip the Band-Aid off and just rip off the goddamn cellophane and get it over with in 2 seconds.
I agree.
Makes me angry.
I'm going to mangle his name, but this is Peter from Toronto. Peter Kozoritz, whatever it is. It's one of those. It has to be. Hi, Wade and Mark. I know you guys are hammering us for audio-submitted questions. Yes, gods@digigods.com.
We haven't gotten one in a couple of weeks. What is wrong with you people?
Gods@digigods.com. And though I could no longer own a webcam/microphone for lack of use, I would like to submit a question that I hope will be of interest. Can you explain what telecine/inverse telecine 3-2 pull down, deinterlacing, and frame rates are, and why they are important when it comes to experiencing cinema. I've tried to wrap my head around these, and though I have a pretty good general idea, I was hoping maybe you could explain the processes better in layman's terms.
That is a huge question.
It is an enormous question, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to refer you actually to the very, very good article in Wikipedia. If you go to Wikipedia and you look up telecine, or inverse telecine, it'll give you all the information on it, and it really gets extremely technical. But what we're talking about is how they take 24, because the frame rate of video is different from the frame rate of film. Film runs at 24 frames a second. And when you transfer that, and I know this because when I shot my music video in film school, it was a nightmare to do all these calculations because we didn't have all the tools then that we have now. But you have to do a weird interpolation. The 3-2 pull down is this weird interpolation of how you squeeze an inexact number of frames into film frames into video frames. And it's a calculation, and it's an imperfect calculation, but it's the only way that you can get film to look like film, to have basically the same running time when it transfers to video. And a lot of that is going away now thanks to Blu-ray and high def, because we don't have NTSC anymore. We don't have PAL. Those formats are going away as everybody moves to high def, and then it's just 1080p all around the world. So that's a nice thing. But what all of this stuff is, it just gets into a very complicated series of processes that are necessary so that film can look like film when it's transferred into the video world.
Well, because additional frames need to be added to the picture in order
it's like leap year.
In order to increase a 24 frame piece of material into a 30 frame piece of material.
Think of it like leap year. You know, there are these frames that are like leap year frames where you have to add something where you have to add a frame in order to come out with the proper length.
And by the way, inverse telecine is the other way around. It's taking something that was 30 frames and making it into 24 frames.
Correct. Absolutely. Mark, let's hear your picks for the year.
Oh, is that the only letter we have?
No, those were the two.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Wade, I'll tell you what. Should we go back and forth? Should we do 10, 10, 9, 9, 8, 8? Or should I just read all my 10?
Read all your 10, because I've got 13.
Yeah.
Well, kind of. It's more like 20. I cheated. But anyway, go on.
God, you always make it difficult. Let's see how many of mine are on yours. Now, this is in alphabetical order. You ready?
Go for it.
Ben-Hur.
Yep.
50th anniversary, Ultimate Collector's Edition.
Yep.
Das Boot.
Ooh.
Now I have 14.
Das Boot. Did we have a Das Boot in 2011?
We had a brand new one.
Really?
Blu-ray. It was like a Blu-ray Collector's Insanity Edition.
Wow.
Did you not know that?
I don't think we actually received that.
No, we did. We talked about it.
Did we?
Yes. 2-disc collector's director's cut, director's set, whatever that's called.
Yeah, wow. Like half. That's back in June. That's like ancient history. I've totally forgotten about that. Good call.
Citizen Kane.
Yep.
Raging Bull.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's a good one. That was a good one. Yeah.
Scarface.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
These are all yours, aren't they?
No.
No?
No. Raging Bull and Scarface didn't make my list.
Ooh. Stanley Kubrick.
Which?
The Essential Collection.
Oh, well, okay, fine. That's kind of cheating. There's a bunch of movies in that too.
Well, that's it's still a Blu-ray release.
True.
Star Wars.
Yeah, I wouldn't have made mine.
I'm going to say Social Network.
Okay.
And Tree of Life.
Good one.
And
movie that I love, though I'm not going to put it at the top on my Blu-ray list. Believe it or not.
Tree of Life?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It didn't make my cut.
Really?
No.
It's gorgeous.
I mean, it's gorgeous. I recommend it, but as my top list, it didn't make it.
Well, I'm going to say the last one will be Toy Story 3, but I know that somewhere in your list is the Three Colors trilogy.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Absolutely.
Now, by the way, before we hear the rest of yours,
yes.
I would like to say the worst Blu-ray of the year.
Yeah.
The worst Blu-ray of the year.
Yes.
Now, when I say worst, I don't mean like...
Is it this?
Horror Express. That's Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing.
I know.
And Telly Savalas. Come on.
We'll get to that in a moment.
It's actually the best.
I know.
Worst of the year, 50th anniversary of West Side Story.
Yeah, for the big mistake.
For the big mistake. That is the worst Blu-ray of the year.
I agree.
And then when they fix it, it will become the best Blu-ray of the year.
Yes, it will.
But now it is the worst. Go, Wade.
Okay, well, I'm going to start off. There's a huge slew of mine that are Criterion releases. Obviously, 3 colors, blue, white, and red. Far and away, DVD and Blu-ray, best release of the year. It's magnificent, brilliant films, incredible transfers. It'll blow your mind. Also, the complete Jean Vigo from Criterion. Every film made by the incredibly talented Jean Vigo, who died prematurely, most famous for La Talente, which is on here along with everything else that he did. A propos de Nice, Taras, Zéro de Conduite. Brilliant filmmaker. Is such a tragically short career. That's a wonderful set as well. Ingmar Bergman's Fanny and Alexander. The great Stanley Kubrick film The Killing, which also includes Killer's Kiss, his very, very first narrative film. The Charles Chaplin film, The Great Dictator, on Blu-ray. And Sweet Smell of Success. That's those Criterions.
Ooh, I forgot about Sweet Smell of Success. I love that film.
Those Criterions are just spectacular. And then I have a whole batch of Kino releases here. All of the Buster Keaton films that are out on Blu-ray. Our Hospitality, Buster Keaton's Short Films Collection, and 7 Chances. Great. Every last one of them. Absolutely spectacular. And then a couple of D.W. Griffith films, Way Down East and Birth of a Nation on Blu-ray. Also incredible. All great film history stuff. And City of Life and Death on Blu-ray. The amazing Chinese film that we gave our LAFCA Foreign Language Award to, black and white, widescreen story of the rape of Nanjing. Unbelievably brutal, grueling, horrible, awesome, brilliant, genius movie. A nightmare to sit through, but on Blu-ray, just spectacular. And then, yes, I included 4 fabulous collector's editions from the studio releases. Not Scarface, though. Scarface. This is where I was really struggling. Do I want to start like Tree of Life and Scarface? And I could have gone to town with all of those, but I chose 4, 2 of which you already mentioned. The Ben-Hur 50th anniversary release, the Citizen Kane Ultimate Collector's Edition, both on Blu-ray, and then also the Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory 40th release and the Dumbo 70th anniversary release.
Ooh, Willy Wonka, good one.
And Dumbo. Had to put a family one in there. So those are my big Blu-ray picks for 2011.
Well, there was also a good Bambi.
It was a great Bambi.
A Bambi release this year.
I couldn't do 2 Disney films in the list.
I understand.
So, anyway, those are my picks.
So, how long would Bambi last if he starred in Zombie Apocalypse?
If he were a zombie, he would eat them all.
Awesome.
Yeah.
This is uncut and unrated, which means nothing because no one saw the original. Wow, a film I never saw is uncut and unrated. Who gives an S? I am all about zombies, but I feel like I'm starting to lose it.
Yeah, I am too. On zombies and vampires and werewolves, I'm about done.
It's like, how much more zombie crap do we need?
Yeah,
now, this is with Ving Rhames, who this guy just cannot get decent work anymore.
No.
What happened to Ving Rhames? It's
Oh,
just so
believe
sad.
me, I've got stories.
What do you mean?
I'll tell you some stories after the show.
Really?
Yeah.
Ving Rhames?
Well, look, I mean, I have a friend who directed Ving Rhames in a movie, and then, my wife was involved in getting post-production finished on a film that Ving Rhames was in. So, I mean, I have some connectivity to Ving Rhames.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Make a note of that. I want to hear that after the show.
Okay, I'll tell you all about it.
Anyway, this film was it's kind of low budgety, so it's not particularly well shot, but it is on Blu-ray, so it looks good on Blu-ray. The thing with these zombie films too is that I think they're really cheap to make, because here's what happens: all zombie films, most of the scenes in a zombie film either take place in some like empty alleyway or like in some big grassy farm, and cheap locations. You can dress 15 people up in crazy makeup, and those are you just reuse them as your zombies.
And you don't have to train them how to act. There's not a lot of directing going on.
No.
I mean, we've all seen enough zombie movies to know exactly how zombies act.
Yes.
You act as you do when you wake up in the middle of the night and you have to go get a sandwich.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The only one of these zombie vampire movies I'm totally on board for is Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. You've heard of that, right?
I have.
It's awesome. How can you not love that?
Oh, heck. Horror Express is a Blu-ray DVD combo that we just teased a second ago with Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing, the old Hammer horror guys, along with Telly Savalas, of all people. This is a release from Severin. This was made in 1972. And Severin has been doing a very good job of taking these old exploitation films and giving them the Blu-ray treatment so that they actually look cool and splashy and Blu-ray appropriate, but don't lose that weird, creepy, kind of crimson-tinged film stock look that made them so eerie back in the 70s. So they really do split the difference very, very nicely. And this comes from a pristine vault element, and it really, really looks terrific. Is the film terrific? Not really. The only thing that's good here is Telly Savalas, who plays this, and there are zombies in this, by the way, too, Mark. This is also a zombie movie, but it's 1972, so it's okay. No, the only thing that really works here is Telly Savalas as this absolutely crazed Russian military guy. It's just the whole thing takes place on the Trans-Siberian Express, and basically it's like Night of the Living Dead on a train. I don't know how else you can really explain it. It's just nuts.
You know why I like Severin as a Blu-ray release house?
Huh?
Because Severin was the name of that hippie villain from the Star Trek episode, The Way to Eden.
Oh, that's right, Dr. Severin.
Yes.
Heading
out to Eden. Yay, brother.
Gonna get my blood checked and jump for joy or whatever it was. Got a clean bill of health from Dr. McCoy.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
The best.
Oh, we're just sad people.
Spock jamming on that little harp. Doom, 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 doom. Great. It's awesome.
That show sucked. It really did. That whole series just sucked. There's like 10 good episodes, and the thing is that it literally has completely consumed my entire childhood and most of my adult life. That series.
I know.
And it was based on an original series.
I know.
That like 2/3 of them suck.
Yeah.
2/3 of the episodes of Star Trek are terrible.
Totally true. Totally true.
How'd that happen?
I don't know.
That's the worst. Final Destination 5. It's about a guy sees premonition, and then he
Once you've gone through 5 of these, I don't know where you go. I don't know where else you go.
I know. Although, you know what? I will say this, and it really does pain me to see this, is that the guy who directed this guy, Stephen Quayle, he's kind of a James Cameron-y, kind of a, I don't know.
Loser?
Acolyte, protege, whatever you want to call it. He actually kind of infuses this tired series with a little bit of energy. So I kind of appreciated that, but I think at this point it's just putting lipstick on a pig. It's just trying to resurrect a dead horse. But I think Quayle did a decent job, trying to put some extra energy into this thing. But ultimately, it's just a dead franchise. They just have to stop.
Got a couple of Kino releases here, both on Blu-ray and on DVD. And they're both really worthwhile. One is Ernest Hemingway's Farewell to Arms. This is taken from beautiful archival elements with Gary Cooper and Helen Hayes. I don't know how faithful it is necessarily to the source material. It's, the Hemingway is obviously much tougher and grittier and has all that Hemingway language. But as just a filmed adaptation with all of that kind of cool old Hollywood style, it really is quite good. This was made in 1932, It's sort of it's not a pre-code film, but it almost feels in some respects a little bit like a pre-code film, and I wish it were more pre-code than it is. Directed by Frank Borzage, and really, pretty terrific. Looks gorgeous on Blu-ray, so I would recommend that on Blu-ray absolutely. And then William Wellman, one of the great early directors of the sound era, also did Nothing Sacred, which is from the same collection as Farewell to Arms, from the Selznick collection, and taken also from Pristine Elements. And Nothing Sacred is a somewhat unfairly forgotten film. It's also not a terribly good film. Features great performances from Carol Lombard and Frederick March. But I think it made in 1937, but I also think it dates somewhat poorly. This is very clearly a Selznick period when he's not yet quite gotten to the Gone with the Wind stature, the Rebecca stature. He sort of really came of age with those films, and he's a couple of years away from that. It's a good script by Ben Hecht, but not terribly well directed by Wellman, who feels a little bit out of his sorts with it. Wellman's strength was not comedy, so I can't fully recommend it except to film buffs who really, really love the movie.
Wait, I'm going to go out on a limb here.
Yep.
I'm going to say that Last Night, which is a Miramax film starring Keira Knightley and Sam Worthington, Eva Mendes, Griffin Dunn, is not bad. This
got a few votes at our voting.
This did last night?
Yeah, for a few things. That popped up on a couple of categories. I was surprised.
Well, you know what it is? It's about a married couple, Sam Worthington and Keira Knightley. They've been married for 7 years, and over the course of one night, their relationship is threatened when each one succumbs or doesn't succumb to sexual temptation. After meeting, like he's got the hot coworker that he never told her about.
Oh, yeah.
That kind of thing. So over the course of this one night, their marriage is either, strengthened or destroyed, whatever. And although I can't say that it's like, some great relationship drama, what I liked about it is that it's well acted. Sam Worthington actually trying to be an actor now instead of just doing all that, action stuff. And it's ambitious and emotionally honest, and you got to give it that despite its flaws. Last night.
And that's it. Gods@digigods.com. Email us your questions, your audio questions, whatever you want. Gods@digigods.com. We will see you then in the new year, so have a fabulous New Year's Eve. Don't drink and drive. We'll be back next week.